Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Elivaras, and welcome to a huge, epic 4v4 battle on possibly the smallest map they could have chosen to play this battle on, the Silver Spire. Today, members of my Discord on the, blue team here face off against 4 randoms. We are the Vampire Counts, the Dwarfs, and the Wood Elves, and Arguelon versus the Wood Elves, the Beastmen, Pretonia, and the Empire. This was submitted by the legend and at Forest Rooster's request because there is a extremely epic moment for the Vampire Counts that we will see. Now, I'm not going to hop into the comps because this will take me a year and a half to go through all these comps, but we can see an immediate engagement here on the right flank, or the semi-right flank, as Sisters of the Thorn and Wild Riders move to charge forward into the Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards, who were Vanguard deployed, and they're going to take a huge chunk there. Now, I do apologize in advance for the lag because it's a huge battle. My computer is not exactly the most beefy, so it's not going to be super inept at handling this, but we'll see how exactly it works. We might have to use a lot of slow motion, but we shall see. Deepwood Scouts getting torn apart here, but Wildwood Rangers and Chaos Spawn coming to reinforce. Meanwhile, over on the left flank in the Vampire Counts area, we can see a lot of Pegasus Knights, Royal Pegasus Knights, and Lewin Leoncoeur flying in from Bretonia, trying to get into the Dwarvish backline. That is actually quite undefended, interestingly enough. They're just kind of out on their own here. Really, the only thing here are the Blood Knights, which is good. Good thing the Vampires are defending this area. And we can see over on this flank, the right flank of the enemy, or the red team, we can see they've got a lot of troops deployed on this ridge, and they've got a very good position for the mortars. We can see mortars are going to be firing in. Right now, though, they're firing at Graveguard. Not necessarily the best target for mortars, just because mortars don't have armor piercing. They will do a good amount of damage, and I guess they don't have much else to fire at. But if anything, if we're going to be firing them at Graveguard, I would be firing them at the Stearnsman and not at the normal Graveguard. But we can see now lines clashing on this flank. And we'll take a look at what's happening elsewhere in the battle. You can see Bretonian peasants with pox arrows. Now, they are in a big, long line, and that means they're going to be more accurate when they're firing. They're essentially, it's interesting how this kind of works, right? If you've got a very long formation, your formation's very spread out, you've got a very wide arc, right? So you're going to be able to fire like that, or like that, I suppose. But if you are in a very, long and straight line, then your arc gets actually shorter. It's like, well, it's okay, it's not that short, but it's like this. But essentially, all of your troops are going to be able to fire faster because they're not getting in the way of each other, interestingly enough. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's more efficient if you're trying to fire in one location. But obviously, maneuvering is pretty poor. We can see an arrow of Kurnos flying in across the battlefield into the Cygor. Not really the best target. You've only got 3 arrows of Kurnos. If I was going to use them, I'd use them on a huge blob. Now, we do see Earthblood going down on the enemy side here. We can see our allied Wood Elves have taken, or their cavalry anyways, have taken a ton of damage, especially from these Swift Shiver Shards. The Deepwood Scouts obviously firing, okay, maybe not obviously, but they're firing 2 arrows at one with their unique ability here. And now we can see the Empire Vampire Counts in full swing here. Mortars firing in, doing a lot of damage to his own troops as well as the Vampires. But we're going to see like a massive, massive clump up here. And with Vlad coming in, one can only imagine what is going to happen. Vlad does indeed have Wind of Death. And let us see what is going to happen here. The carnage that is going to take place. We can see Vlad getting ready to cast here. Trying to get into position. We can see the Wind of Death coming down. Let's hop into slow motion because this is going to be absolutely brutal. Let's take a look at all the health bars. Almost full health on all sides from the Empire except for the Spearman unit. And this one taking a little bit of damage. Another mortar shot coming down into their own soldiers. Not good there. They actually took a ton of damage from that. But here comes, ready for it, the Wind of Death. 5-second cast in slow motion. It's going to be a bit longer. But now here it comes. Instantly, great swords chunked. Instantly, spearmen down. Other great swords almost obliterated down the line. Spearmen, halberds that are charging in. Wrong time to charge in. Wind of Death tearing down the line. Halberds taken below 50. Halberdiers, other unit of halberds, spearmen absolutely decimated. And we can see the carnage that took place in this huge clump. The whole Empire army essentially routs in one wind of death. Vlad from 0 to 566 kills. Unbelievable. Empire gets way too clumped up, and they pay a hell of a price for it. Their whole army essentially obliterated in one go. That was unbelievable. And if what I was told is correct, I believe this Empire player did quit shortly after, which I wouldn't be surprised. That might induce a little bit of rage. We can see the last of the Bretonnian Air Force are starting to rout here. Luan Leoncoeur, not exactly the best plays coming in from Bretonnia just to charge all their troops into the back line at the very start of the battle. If anything, I would have waited till the rest of the lines engaged and then charge. We can see all really Bretonnia has, though, is just Peasant Mob, unit of Men-at-Arms, and a unit of Peasant Bowmen with Pox Arrows. So really, they've just got a stalling army here. On Silver Spire, not as needed just because, it's not a massive open battlefield, so there's not as many places to block off, but you can see a lot of Wood Elf archers here firing in. But now that the Empire's been essentially decimated, Bretonnia's decimated as well, except for their units of fodder. This is looking pretty rough for Beastmen and Wood Elves. So the Wood Elves are going to have to try and carry the day here, but they don't really have much melee forces. We can see a lot of these are allied Wood Elf forces. Looks like some of the enemy Wood Elf forces are here. War Dancers with Azurai Spears, 2 units of them. But not much else. You can see it's lots of archers and Sisters of the Thorn, actually. 2 units Sisters of the Thorn. Very interesting. I don't know if that would necessarily be my choice, 2 units of Sisters of the Thorn. I would definitely go for at least a Wild Rider. You can do a pretty deadly combo of Wood Elves, of Sisters of the Thorn and Wild Riders, but only Sisters of the Thorn is interesting. We can see it looks like an Arrow of Kurnos coming in, looking like it's aiming for the Glade Lord right on the steed. Decent chunk, but again, you don't want to be wasting your Arrows of Kurnos on Lords and stuff like that, especially if they aren't ethereal. If they're ethereal, go for it. They'll lose a ton of health. But in this case, it's not necessary, right? You can target massive clumps and get way more value for your kills. We can see Wood Elves still have a defended right flank here. Arguelon, anyways. Nothing's coming. They've got these Treekin are going to hold the line forever. So it looks like a huge upper hand to the allied force here from the Discord. Glade Lord, or probably Glady, sniping Luan Leoncoeur as he tries to leave the map. So yeah, a lot of archers on the friendly side as well. Green Knight in the fray. Let's zoom in and watch the Green Knight in action here. We can see, although we do have the Chaos Spawn with a Shield of Thorns, interestingly enough. Weapon damage and missile resistance. Not bad when there's a lot of archers here. And giving them extra DPS here to try and punch through this allied Wood Elf front line. Okay, that is a ton of lag. Way too many soldiers on this battlefield. We can see now, though, the peasant mobs starting to rout from the Bretonnian side. Obviously, they're not going to be doing much, especially in the face of these Wild Riders and Treekin charging in. See, on this side, it's just a matter of cleanup. Beastmen did try to come in and reinforce the Empire, though. We can see this carnage that was left over. Bloody brutality. Empire does still have their mortars here firing in. Now it's going to be a lot more value in the mortar shots, as a lot of the Empire, they can't kill their own Empire now. What are they firing at? Looks like they're firing away over. Looks like they're firing into this blob over here, or something over here. Looks like the Eternal Guard. We can see, oh, wow, beautiful hits charging in. Whoa. Wow, that was actually really good. Holy cow, it takes it to half in one volley. That was a quality hit right there. That was good stuff. Ironbreakers throwing their blasting charges in, riding the Bretonnian force. But those definitely a smarter choice from the mortars here. Fire at the lightly armored Wood Elves and absolutely decimate them. But at this point, it's a little too late. Actually, that might be an AI at this point. But we'll see here. More mortar shots flying in here. What are they firing at now? Looks like they're firing into the dwarves. Not necessarily a good choice. Again, mortars, not armor piercing, not going to be doing as much damage, but we do see blasting charges flying in here. Not going to be doing much against huge units like the Chaos Spawn, and definitely not causing any disruption. This unit of Centaurs hidden away in the trees here, as we have a convoy or a defensive line, or a kind of like a supply line moving up the side here. Now, there's not exactly much to charge for the Beastmen here. They're going to do jack all in terms of damage to treekin, and they don't, Eternal Guard aren't exactly much better as they are anti-large, but it looks like nevertheless they're going to decide to charge right into the treekin. Definitely not what I would have gone for. Minotaur's going to charge in, and because the Eternal Guard weren't braced, they're not going to get that charge defense. A lot of them go flying, but they don't even take that much damage, interestingly enough. So you have Centaurs pulling away, but we can see now these units of enemy archers, Deep Wood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards, are now taking a lot of damage, a lot of punishment from the allied bows here. And now they are going to pull up as fast as they can. Bretonnia Peasant Mob coming back, but not for long. We can see another pop of something down here. Looks like Kazrak the One-Eyed, Call of Violence, extra leadership on the Beastman side. But the Beastmen just do not have any numbers. All they seem to have are large units, and they just don't have enough on this side. They got Chaos Spawn, they got a Giant, they got a Gorebull. Kazrak the One-Eyed. Kazrak absolutely surrounded. He's not going to be doing much in this position here. Surrounded by Crypt Horrors and Grave Guard. These might even be the Sternsmen. They look pretty fancy. No, they're not the Sternsmen. They're just normal Grave Guard. We can see Crypt Horrors leaping into the fray here, knocking Kazrak around like he is a child. Empire definitely not having a good day after that Wind of Death. And we can see it is heavily in the Allies' favor here. More shots pouring in to the enemy Deep Wood Scouts. We still have the Bretonnian firing line in the back here. Starting to run low on ammo. They did get good value for their arrows, it looks like. Who are they firing at, though? Looks like they're firing at dwarves. Not a super bad idea, although they do not have armor piercing, so it's not exactly the most value they could get. If they should be doing anything, they should be firing in at these lightly armored Wood Elf units over here. See Deepwood Scouts pushing back here, firing into the treekin, and Minotaurs taking quite a bit of damage here, surrounded by treekin and Eternal Guard. We'll see what these Razor Gore Herd, if they end up doing anything. We can see the battle in the center has been won on both flanks, and now a lot of supporting archer fire coming in, but completely, essentially nullified by the trees here. They're all hitting this one tree right there. Now they finally get through. Razor Gore starting to rout. Not looking good. Mass routes on the enemy lines here. Centaurs charging forward, trying to get into the Glade Lord. Glade Lord a little caught out here, although it is so late in the battle. Who knows if it's actually going to matter. We can see massive leadership penalty dropping on the Centaurs, and essentially all units have routed except for the unbreakable units, that being the Green Knight, the Chaos Spawn. We're going to see our Bretonnian player tries to charge in vain, or maybe not in vain, but trying to take the Glade Lord out at least as a prize here before the battle ends. Now, I am going to be cutting a lot of cinematic shots in here because obviously because of the lag and stuff, I wasn't able to do much here, and there's so much going on, so I definitely missed a ton of stuff. I'm going to be cutting cinematic shots in throughout the video, so hopefully you enjoy that. We can see Glade Lord is actually getting torn apart by the Green Knight. Now, I'm very surprised that the Glade Lord has so few kills. She's only got 17. In a battle this big, you can easily get her like over 100 kills. You know, just charge her into enemy archers, charge her into the, the weak enemy front line. Like you could charge her over by the Empire, or charged her into the Bretonnian forces, getting a lot of kills. Looks like she was just kind of flying and sitting around most of the game, but does take Potion of Toughness. The question is, can she survive the wrath of the Green Knight here? Green Knight definitely doing work. Now, if she does rout, then the Potion of Toughnesses effects do decrease. Green Knight, though, taking a lot of damage, as the Glade Lord does have magic damage. But now, Green Knight is surrounded. 57 seconds left on the board. Chaos Spawn getting finished off here, and it looks like it's just the Green Knight. Now we're going to see a nice cycle charge coming in from the Glade Lord. And it looks like that's just about it. Two entities of Chaos Spawn. And then the Green Knight. 40 seconds left. 40 seconds left, really? Doesn't seem like it's going to take that long to kill him. 31, 30 seconds. Looks like it's just the Green Knight now. You can see the Allied forces charging in here. Now, hopefully our troops, our allies aren't dumb here and fire into this blob. Oh, just imagine the carnage. Imagine if they had, like, Hellstorm rocket batteries or cannons that they decided they were going to... Well, they do have cannons, but if they fired into this, that would be absolutely devastating. That would be insane. Green Knight trying in vain to get out, and it looks like he was not successful in his quest to kill the Glade Lord. The potion ends up winning the day for the Glade Lord, and with a cycle charge, she dupes out of the cycle charge. But a Pyrrhic victory for the members of the Discord. Let's take a look at some of the kills here. Wild Riders doing absolute work for the Legend. No, this is Helljumper. It's the enemy side. Oh, wow. Chaos Spawn and the Giant for this random jumble of code. Quite good on that side. We can see pretty good from the L's here from Cybe Jack Grove. War Dancer's doing very well. Wildwood Rangers doing very well, as expected. You can see the Legend. Oh, no. Okay, that was the Legend. I thought it was. Okay, yeah, his Wild Rider's very, very well. Helljumper, not super well from his forces here. He got a little bit decimated, teamed up on the front line. Eternal Guard carrying the day for his team, it looks like. Forest Rooster, unbelievable Wind of Death. That was insane. Definitely the highlight of the battle. 566 kills with that one Wind of Death. Crazy. Randall as the dwarves. Not doing too much. Most of his dwarves at high health. They just didn't, have the pressure. The enemy side didn't have the pressure to kill the dwarves. Right? Bretonia had essentially their whole flying force. They charged in right at the start of the battle, got them all killed, and then all they had was peasant mob, which are going to be doing jack to dwarves. And then, say, Korean Jesus over here, essentially his whole front line just got absolutely obliterated in one Wind of Death. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, he left pretty soon after. Then it was only Wood Elves who have a very tough matchup against the dwarves due to numerous reasons that I mentioned in previous videos. Then it was really down to the Beastmen to try and hold, and the Beastmen were trying to hold the line that the Empire had failed to do after they got obliterated by the Wind of Death. So wasn't much that could be done in the center. It was really just the Wood Elves, some Beastmen units, and then the whole army of Peasant Mob that routed extremely easily. So yeah, after that Wind of Death, honestly, the Empire player should not have gotten that clumped up. That was way more units fighting than needed to be fighting. And he paid the absolute price for that mistake. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this epic and huge battle. Apologize for the lag, but I will put in some exciting and cool-looking cinematic shots like I've been doing in my past few videos. So, without further ado, I would like to thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers, guys.